Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Hornets scouts must be regretting missing out on Warriors savior in 2024 draft. Much of the conversation surrounding the Charlotte Hornets' 2024 draft decision has centered on Dillon Salon and how the young Frenchman has become a harsh lesson for the team. To be fair to Salon, he has played according to the Hornets' front office's expectations. But his struggles in his rookie season have partly caused some people to forget that the Hornets also had another draft pick last year. At the number 42 slot, they selected KJ Simpson, who had an uneven first year in the league. Rarely have players chosen late in the draft, like Simpson, turned out to be franchise saviors. However, the prospect chosen 10 picks after the former University of Colorado Boulder point guard was picked up has been a godsend for the Golden State Warriors. There wasn't much fanfare surrounding the Warriors' second-round selection of Quinton Post, who spent his first 2 collegiate years with Mississippi State University before playing for 3 seasons for Boston College. Even the Dubs didn't know what they had in the big man, trading him to the Portland Trail Blazers in a 4-team draft day deal before reacquiring him. In his first few months in the professional ranks, Post played more in the G League than in the NBA before finally cracking Steve Kerr's rotation. His numbers ended up not standing out much, but his ability to crash the boards and spread the floor has proven valuable for Golden State. Most folks would attribute the marquee franchise's resurgence this season to new star Jimmy Butler, but Post also deserves credit for giving the squad a reliable piece at the center and power forward positions. The Dutch hoopster is also a key reason it has a 3-1 lead over the Houston Rockets in the first round of the playoffs. Thrust into the starting lineup after the Warriors' Game 2 loss, he hauled in 12 rebounds in Game 3 before pouring in 13 points off the bench in the fourth meeting. Of course, it's difficult to assume that Post would have developed into the same player he is now had the Hornets landed him last year, especially since he would have been at the bottom of the depth chart. In addition, he doesn't fit their timeline despite being a rookie because he turned 25 last March. However, if Charlotte had been able to draft and develop him, it could have had a big man who would complement LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller well on offense and with the poise of a veteran. At worst, he could have supplied the organization with a high-value trade asset. The good news is that Simpson has displayed the potential to be a solid playmaker, shot creator, and defender. Still, the Hornets scouting department should take some notes on what the Warriors did right in last year's draft. Warriors Stephen Curry reveals what's stupid about dust-up with Dillon Brooks. In the second quarter of the Golden State Warriors' 109-106 win over the Houston Rockets, Stephen Curry and Dillon Brooks got into a dust-up that had the officials whistle both of them, as well as Draymond Green, for a technical foul. Brooks, after getting Curry on a switch, bumped into the Warriors star, knocking him over to the ground as a result. After Curry got up, Brooks tried to get into his head by snatching the ball away from him, but the Warriors star decided that he wasn't about to get punked and shoved the Rockets' wing in return. But before the shoving match ensued, Curry held up a 2 sign with his fingers to remind Brooks of how many fouls he had at the time. This may have been what agitated the Rockets' wing further, leading to both of their technical fouls. But on the prior possession, Brooks began everything by reminding Curry that he had just 1 foul, perhaps as a reminder that he can still play physical defense against the Warriors star. Following the game, Curry expressed his frustration that he was called for a technical foul when he was simply responding in kind to how Brooks was treating him. That was so stupid because he had did it literally the play before, and I just returned the favor. But they didn't see him. They saw me. It's like siblings, the second ones will get in trouble, Curry said in his post-game presser, via 95.7 The Game on X, formerly on Twitter. Regardless, it was Curry and the Warriors who had the last laugh against Brooks and the Rockets. They took a 3-1 lead in the series, inching ever so closely to a trip to the second round of the playoffs, and it'll be quite the vindication of their efforts if they do manage to fully overcome a Rockets team that's fully intent on making life as miserable as possible for them. All series long, the Rockets have been testing the limits of what the NBA constitutes as legal defense. They have been holding onto Stephen Curry like ants drawn to a sugar cube, with Amen Thompson, Dillon Brooks, and Fred VanVleet taking turns guarding the Warriors' star. Curry, however, has been phenomenal all series long. He's averaging 26 points thus far through 4 games of the series, and he's doing so on 51.4% shooting from the field and 41% from deep. Draymond Green spent the final few weeks of the regular season vociferously campaigning for himself to win the 2025 Defensive Player of the Year award. But in the end, it was Evan Mobley who won the award, with the Golden State Warriors forward finishing third in the voting, behind Mobley and Dyson Daniels. However, on Monday night, during Game 4 of the Warriors' first-round series against the Houston Rockets, Green showed why he remains one of the premier defenders in the league and perhaps why he should have won the award in the first place. With the Warriors up by just 107-106, in the dying embers of the game, the Rockets gave the ball to Alperen Sengun's hands to try and get a bucket to regain the lead. Sengun had 31 points on the night and has been the team's most consistent offensive option, so giving the ball to him was perhaps their best option. Charles Barkley calls Warriors stars stupid in emotional rant. NBA legend Charles Barkley was not too happy with the way the Golden State Warriors played on Monday night. The Warriors entered Game 4 of their NBA playoff series against the Houston Rockets brimming with confidence. After all, they won Game 3 and took a 2-1 series lead even with Jimmy Butler sidelined. However, Monday's contest was a bit messy for the Warriors, who allowed the Rockets to get in their heads rather than playing like a composed championship-caliber team. Both Steph Curry and Draymond Green were given technical fouls after a heated moment with Houston forward Dillon Brooks, while Jimmy Butler also joined in talking trash to Brooks while struggling offensively early on. As Inside the NBA reviewed the first 2 quarters of the game at halftime, Chuck didn't hold back in his assessment of the Warriors. He even went as far as calling both Green and Butler stupid for their actions. "Let me just say this is just a bunch of stupidity, this ain't got nothing to do with basketball," Barkley stated. "These guys gotta settle down and play basketball. All that other stuff, nothing's coming of it. I told Kenny, I said, I think the Rockets are going to win this game because they want the game like this. The Warriors aren't playing basketball, they're out there being stupid. Draymond's being stupid, Jimmy's out there being stupid, and the Rockets are like, okay, they're playing down to our level." The Warriors ended the half against the Rockets trailing by 7 points, 57-50, so it's not surprising why Barkley was critical of the Dubs. After all, Golden State knows very well that its focus should be on basketball rather than falling into Houston's mind games. Luckily for the Warriors, despite the issues they encountered during the contest, they ended up beating the Rockets 109-106 to take a 3-1 series lead. And you fan? What do you think about Charles Barkley's situation? Write to us in the comments.